Hey, Thriving Launchers, if you've ever thought about selling on Amazon or are thinking about selling a product and haven't developed it yet, this episode is for you.
Welcome to Thriving Launch with Luis Congdon and Kamala Chambers, this show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all.
Maybe you can relate to this. When I was a full-time coach, I found that I had to keep repeating the same things to people over and over and over again, and it got to be kind of draining, and I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing anymore. So what I decided to do was record the things that I had to tell clients over and over and over again, and then I packaged those recordings together and sold them as an online course. If you're interested in creating and selling your own online course, head over to thrivinglaunch.com and I have a free training for you on how to create and make passive income through your own online course.
Today's guest is a former Marine, and he is one of the co-founders of Dazadi.com. Jason has also worked as an account executive at Johnson & Johnson. His companies are known to make millions and millions every year. He is an acting CEO of various companies, and he joins us today to talk about how to use Amazon to increase sales and how to do incredible market research for your business. Hey, Thriving Launchers, we are here with Jason. Jason, so excited to have you here. Are you ready to launch?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
So, hey, the landscape of Amazon is changing, and there's been some shifts, and Amazon is an incredible tool to be using for sales. We've done some incredible interviews with some people that are just making a killing with Amazon. I mean, it is a place that anybody in business that is selling a product or a book, you should be there. I'm curious from you, Jason, what got you interested in Amazon to begin with? I mean, why is this such a hot place for people to be at?
Oh, that's a great question, and you're absolutely right. I don't think the world has ever seen anything quite like Amazon, both as a disruptor and as also as a retail channel. We have been selling on Amazon for a very long time. In fact, we got a phone call, if you can imagine that, from Amazon in, I think it was 2003 or 2004. At the time, we were drop shipping basketball hoops. And they asked us if we would be willing to sell or offer for sale our basketball hoops on Amazon. And this is a true story. We were actually selling basketball hoops on Amazon before they were. When they called us, this is so long ago, they were just a bookseller and selling CDs and DVDs. So that's how long ago we started with them. And we recognized right away that there was tremendous potential. Long before most did. Everyone understands it now. I mean, there's some projections out there that are projecting that Amazon will own at least half of the online market share in the United States by the end of this year. I mean, that's just a staggering number considering these guys were selling books when we started with them. And we have been through, I mean, we've been on there for a very long time. I don't think I've met anyone that's been selling. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's been selling on Amazon as long as we have, and is still doing it. But we have just gone through numerous changes and updates and business shifts and strategic inflection points as a result of things that Amazon have done, and it's become, sort of the largest part of our business to date.
I really would love to hear from you. What are some of the most fundamental and important things to know when selling on Amazon?
Well, we don't have time in this podcast to cover everything, but let me see if I can highlight a few things. The biggest change that we have made in the last 2 years is when we first started, and in 2004 selling basketball hoops on Amazon. None of those hoops were our own. In other words, it wasn't our own private label. Now, a majority of our sales are our own private label. And why is that important? So we believe over here at Dazadi that because of the changes to the buy box algorithm on Amazon, which is, for viewers who don't know, if you sell the same product, let's say you sell brand X and then your competitors all sell brand X and that same product with the same UPC code, Amazon's sort of listing technology combines all of the sellers into one listing. And you may not recognize this when you go and buy, but there's a box on the product details page on Amazon where you can click and see other sellers. And sometimes for a given UPC code that's being listed on Amazon, you can see 3 different sellers, 300 sellers, and that's really how we started. We would just do a listing. We were selling the same UPC code as a handful of other sellers or retailers. And what happened over time from 2004 to today is there was just such an incredible downward pressure on the retail prices that every year your margins would shrink. And so ultimately, the margins got so small by selling other people's things that a couple of years ago, we went all in with the strategy of identifying, both sourcing exclusive products, so we own the UPC code, so we don't have to compete in the buy box with Amazon, but also developing our own private label line. And we have a brand called Harville, Harvil, and that's now the majority. It's our biggest vendor, is our own private label brand, and we research, design, develop, land, launch, learn, and iterate to make great products. And that really, in my mind, is the future of selling on Amazon. For your viewers who are thinking about selling other people's stuff on Amazon, I don't think that is going to last. I don't think it's a strong, long-lasting business strategy unless you can get vendors to give you your own unique exclusive, we call them exclusives internally, exclusive UPCs to sell on Amazon, or you've got your own private label that you're developing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it sure does. And what I love to know is what are some of the pitfalls that people might want to avoid when they're starting to sell on Amazon, or if they've been doing it for a while?
Well, if they're just starting to sell on Amazon, I frankly wouldn't waste my time with other people's products. I would only launch on Amazon if I had my own private label product. And you can start with one SKU. I mean, we've got some SKUs, individual SKUs that do over $1 million a year, just one product on Amazon. So you can really, you can really do well for yourself if you pick the right item. And you can pick the right item by going and looking. Amazon, unlike a lot of the other online marketplaces that we sell on, give you what the sales rank is for a given SKU. And they do it right on their website. You can go to bestselling. It takes a few clicks, but you can when you go to the product details page, if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a ranking number associated with where that product ranks in a given category. And if you click on some of those links, it will take you to a bestsellers page, and it'll tell you exactly what the bestseller in a given category or subcategory is. And then you could take a look at that product and determine, is this something I can make? Is this something I can make better, cooler, at a better price point? And you can use that sort of available intelligence to come out of the gate with a new private label product that potentially will do well. For those that have been selling on Amazon for a long time, I think that if you're reselling other people's products, you're just not going to be around in 2 to 3 years. So I feel strongly about that, which is why we've put so many resources into developing our own private label brand, and it's just the best thing that's ever happened to us and to our Amazon business.
And Thriving Launchers, whether or not you're in the Amazon space, Jason is bringing up some incredible points in regards to researching what sells in your market, researching what sells in your niche, and asking yourself some really fundamental questions. What is it that these guys are doing well? What is it that they're not doing well? Where can I add my own little spin? How's their marketing? How could I market in a different way but sell the same product or service? I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of life coaches out there, health coaches, podcast programs, digital programs. I mean, there's in almost any market you go to, if you're not doing your research, then it's going to be very hard for you to understand what makes you stand out. And one of the things, Jason, too, that you've mentioned that really is reminiscent of when we had Ryan Daniel Morin on our show is that he said that that's when he really started to make a lot of profits through Amazon was when they developed their own yoga mat, and it became their mat that was licensed under their brand, and they had an exclusive right to it. That's really kind of like where the profit is, isn't it? Is you own the product, so you can price it at what you want, and you can You can just be, you are now actually the owner of it.
Yeah, 100%. And I've said this at a couple of speaking engagements in the past. Um, the game has changed in terms of product development. And I believe this very strongly. The next great Unilever, the next great Procter and Gamble will start as either an Amazon seller or an Instagram seller. And why is that? It goes back to what I was just saying previously and what you just mentioned, Luis, is that you have to have a conversation with the customer. The old way of developing a product, Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble would spend $1 million on someone's bright idea. They would spend a fortune on consumer market research, but it was all third party. They never really had a conversation with the customer. Going onto Amazon and seeing what the best sellers are, on an Amazon product details page, you can see the product reviews. You can read what customers like about the product, what they don't like about the product. You can even see in the questions and answers section in a given product details page the conversation that has happened between people who have bought the product and potential customers. So you can take that information, you can study it, and you can ask yourself, can I fix the problems that exist on this good selling product that's already existing in the marketplace? And if the answer is yes, and you can design, develop, land the product, and service the customer the sort of unfulfilled need, then you can command a higher retail price and a higher margin. If you can make it look cooler than compared to the rest, and you can command an even higher margin than that. So the simple answer to your question, Luis, is yes. The game has changed. The game of developing products has changed. There is a wealth of available information that's out there, both on Amazon, social media, etc., that allows, I think, a smarter, less expensive way to develop great new products. And if you're not trying to, I think that's the only way moving forward on Amazon, on Instagram and Facebook, and driving traffic in that way. You've got to start with your own product that meets some unfulfilled need in the marketplace, and all that information is available.
So great. It's what an amazing tool that we have with this if we're trying to sell physical products. And one thing that I'd love to hear from you before we go, what is the one big takeaway that you want people to walk away with that you haven't already mentioned, just the really important point from all your years of experience that you want to leave the thriving launchers with?
Oh, good question. Don't give up. If you have some success, don't rest on your laurels. Start asking yourself the question, what can go wrong? Because likely you'll figure it out and it will go wrong. If you launch something and it's a failure, it's only a failure if you quit. Keep working on it and keep iterating on it. We have a process called launch and learn. We get a product development based on the available information. We land it knowing that it's going to be better than what's in the marketplace, but we also understand that there's a process of learning about our products that we will gain through communication with the customer. So if it fails right away, don't worry about it. Close it out. Start over with the additional information that you're getting from your customer that you didn't think of. And just sticking with it, I think, would be sort of the general message. Don't quit. Keep working on it, getting smarter and improving. This world in terms of product development is about iteration. It's not about launching the perfect product from the gate. It's just unrealistic. There's no such thing as perfect, and give yourself a break if it's not perfect when you launch. Just learn from it and you will succeed.
That's awesome feedback. Thriving Launchers, we've been here with Jason. One of the things, too, that I want to add here is even if you're not selling on Amazon, but you want to sell a book or you want to sell something, you can always go into Amazon and look for products, books that are kind of within the vicinity of what you're up to. Like, say, if you wanted to develop a podcasting course, you might type in podcasting and find some books on podcasting, and then look at like the 2 and 3 star reviews to find out what people's complaints are, and that would help you develop your product or your digital product or your book. So that's another way. I mean, Jason was really just cueing us in to get feedback from the market. And now in this new era, we don't have to spend millions of dollars to have some big firm go out and do the research for us. We can do it all in-house by going online, and Amazon is an incredible tool for that. Whatever you got out of today's episode, Thriving Launchers, go out there, keep thriving, and take action and get your business thriving. And until the next episode, keep thriving, y'all.
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there.